You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. Nighttime is the better time for lots of things. That's not too bad. Wow, there's the Lumen Tower. In the old times, they used it to warn off goo floaters in the dark, but it's got a wilder secret now. Stay away from that biohazard. You'll want to wash yourself off for a month. Well, what do you know? The antenna needs to be pointed in the right direction. As the iBox broadcasts, it's hit or miss, but when it does hit, it's usually right in the feels.
Cofintra Bidwitchen. 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 bidwitchen. Cofintra bidwitchen. Cofintra bidwitchen. Cofintra bidwitchen. Cofintra.
The water is so colourful. Even better for the goo. Listen to the sound of that surf. It's the porky-puff nibbling bark. It took quite a liking to the crunchy stuff after munching down out-of-date's leg. and tow it beneath the puff. Unleash the quacks. Ain't that cute? A two-bit playing with quacks. Can you feel it? It's the brisk wind of change. Don't let this opportunity slide. He thanks you for dealing with the first World Eater. It's a start. You should go see Out of Date and find out what you can about the machine he's named the Ark. Even if Out of Date doubts your intentions, he depends on your help, and the Sifu is confident he'll let you know what you need. He trusts you know where to find Out of Date by now. He's always been at the foot of the tree, and that hasn't changed. Goop knows he's repeating himself, but can't help talking to you. Says it's time to head to the blimp station and find Lobo. She's a good friend to have. Hopes the octopod is finished in time to battle the Merkpuff. Says you should take it easy. Goop knows he's repeating himself, but can't help talking to you. Says talking to you was interesting. For some, the night brings terror. That's some sharp wood scrap there. Watch for splinters. Someone could probably make good use of that plastic scrap over there. Looks like some solid wood scrap there. Let's see. It's a place well hidden. It's just below the above. Watch out for drop-offs. They can surprise you down here. Out of Date's impressed you made it this far, but there's still so much left to do. The end of the world is still on everyone's minds. You've beaten a path where you have the power to destroy or save everyone. Question is, what you'll do with that responsibility. He worries about you. If you love yourself, you don't hurt others. But the more you hate yourself, the more you want others to suffer. Thinks it's important that you remember who you are and where you came from. Someone without knowledge of their history and origin is like a tree without roots. What do you think his are? He's the one that's called Out of Date, remember? Out of Date says there's a time for everything. And now there's no use thinking of the past, for it's gone. Think of the present, because that's where you are. It's time to set your priorities as the one who completes things. He's worried that you're putting the world at risk. But darkness isn't necessarily the end of the world. It's just another perspective. If the world really does end, there won't be anywhere to run. So he's prepared for the worst, something he calls the Ark. Two sides to everything, but for him it would be devastating if you were forced to use the Ark to escape while the world crumbled. Out of Date says there's no clear record of the chain of events that changed the course of history and brought the world to its knees. He's found evidence on the Ark, records of a crisis, decades of contamination that permeated the ground and broke its inner core. The contamination disrupted what we now know as Ki energy, the life force that runs through all things, living and inanimate. He's been told the blight affected everything at a genetic level and turned our perception of normality on its head. It was only those that changed that avoided extinction, proving that the possibility for survival and renewal was real. He understands you're curious about the ship at the foot of the tree. He says it surfaced when the oil broke through the ground. The Ark predates the back-in days, and now, after years of study of the manuals he found inside, he believes he's figured the ship out. The Ark has room for 4 more, even if you think no one else is worth saving if the world comes to an end. He'll keep the seats open, and you are free to invite up to 4 others to join you in the Ark in the event of a cataclysm. Out of Date says the word about what you've done so far is spreading. The tribes haven't lost hope yet. He appreciates what you've done so far, but unfortunately he's had urgent news from his friend Wiz in the northwest. He knows you're good-hearted enough to give Wiz the support he needs. He says he'll point you in the right direction, but finding Wiz and making sure he gets what he needs is up to you. That doesn't sound good. Out of Date's hunch is real. The Merc Puff is up next. Out of Date says that Wiz is worried now that the Northwest World Eater is stepping up its activity. He explains that Wiz is working on an undersurf vessel in order to get to the World Eater, but needs help to get it done. Out of Date suggests that you should head northwest as fast as possible and see what you can do to help. He wonders what's on your mind. Didn't have much else to say, so no problem. Enjoy what's left of the color green while you can. This is a radioactive zone. It's not healthy to go too far in without protection. The inputters need to be linked to boot the mind monitor. It's mind over matter, software over hardware. Success is peace of mind. The light you see at night is brighter than you think. A smart foe would lead. You could probably make something glossy with plastic scrap. Look at that plastic scrap, just waiting for someone to do something with it. Put a key in that. Even with the world ending, there are fresh days ahead. Nice find. This is a radioactive zone. It's not healthy to go too far in without protection. Oh, ouch! Metal scrap. That's the good stuff. Stand against that. This is a radioactive zone. It's not healthy to go too far in without protection. There are tough times ahead, no matter where you go. There's a notice board, probably once filled with posts begging for nose plugs. There's a gas capture turret not too far from here. Just keep your nose up. The Toxanol Corporation made gas into burn fuel here. It made everyone sick after a while. The poisoning happened slowly. By the time they realized it was happening, it was too late, especially for them. Nasty as this place is, you might still find some tracks here. got hurt. How many days like this do you think the... That looks like you're on track. It's comforting to travel on an old path like this. For you, I mean. Toxanol sold it all off as fast as they could make it. Might be some hidden around, but not a lot. Seems like those tracks never run out of gas. This is a radioactive zone. It's not healthy to go too far in without protection. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the active actuators and activate the framework. This is a radioactive zone. It's not healthy to go too far in without protection. What a blow! This is a radioactive zone. It's not healthy to go too far in without protection. This is a radioactive zone. It's not healthy to go too far in without protection. You'd never find snow or ice here. Always good to have some wood scrap like that on hand. Extreme. Sunburst. That's the good stuff. Let's see. Tricky to spy dangers nearby. Baked! So much damage. Key overflow. Plastic scrap like that over there could be useful. The SURGESURF factory. Keep your eye out for Wiz while you're here. Let's see. This place can feel like it's closing in around you. Look at the notices on that board. No one paid much attention to them, it looks like. Wiz should be around here somewhere, probably taking care of his guppos. A SURGESURF factory was one of the cleaner ways to make power, until the surf turned into goo and clogged it all up, that is. The thicker the surf became with goo, the more the machinery clogged up and stopped working. Like most things from the bygone. There are sure to be more tracks around here, maybe by the shore. The plague that's ruining the land needs to be stopped. Wuz isn't easy on the tongue, but I think he says he's happy to see a friendly face. Not too many of those around these days. Says it's good to see you again. He's Wiz. You might remember him from the old days when he let you try his octopod? Wiz remembers you were such a cheery kid, and he's glad to see that light hasn't faded from you, despite the years. But Wiz understands it was a long time ago, and memories get murkier the deeper you go, but says it helps to have friends with you to plumb those depths. It was a tragedy, but also sad that you chose to leave. It's a miracle you made it on the outside on your own. That land is harsh, they say. Wiz says our memory keeps things for us, preserves them until we are ready to face them again. He knows you've returned to face Lupa Lupin, and that confrontation is as inevitable as the tides. He's not surprised that the loss of your family could plunge you into the depths forever, but you've always been able to rise like a bubble to the surface, no matter what. He knows that though the tides of history may push you in one direction, you can always lay your own course. He feels you've deserved revenge because of how you were wronged. You've suffered enough to make him pay. Asks if you ever think about freedom and whether any of us really has it. Did you make the decisions that brought you here, or are you just a pawn of fate? Glad to hear that. He only wishes he was that sure about himself. Sad that the world is close to death. Wonders if he might be able to hold out a bit longer in an octopod. Wonders why you felt like kicking the world so hard when it was already down. Fascinated you wound up working with the Jagni. He thinks of them not as makers, but takers. Just wishes they'd collect their own things instead of taking them from others. But that's not nearly as important as this. Wiz says that you should let the past dwell in the depths, but there's something else down there too, gnawing at the Tree of Life. He's named it the Merc Puff. This is why he's tinker-tonkering with the octopod. But the lid got stuck, so he needs a big enough tug twister to open it up and let you a-goin'. He can't leave the surge station, so you must help him find a tug twister. There's a wound-up mecha fingro in the mecha stadium that still has one stuck on its back. Find it, and you'll find the tug twister. It's definitely made to lend a helping hand and do the heavy lifting. Toxanol records mention it as an automaton made for moving bionucleus matter into storage areas. You're here for a reason. It's up to you to figure out what that is.